It is like a fucking incredible feeling, bro. Playing against big clubs, you get 100,000 there throughout the season. And the roar and the eruption and the energy that runs through your body is insane. Really felt into it as much as I possibly could. Looking around at the crowd, getting around my teammates. You go, yeah, well, I'll never get to do it again. But I'm so glad I had the foresight to go soak this shit in, because it's, doesn't come around very often. Beat Hawthorn, who were on top, and we were flying. And all of a sudden, I think that's when it really hit the fan. The walls came crashing down a bit externally in the public. We ended up getting kicked out of finals that year. For the next 2 years, we were going through an investigation, getting drug tested all the time. We had constant media scrutiny, door stopped in your car at the club, waiting out the front of your house.
Any evidence against it?
Absolutely zero. We were found guilty, and we were to serve a 12 months sanction from playing AFL footy, had no contact with the club. It was just a wild scenario, man.
I want to ask you, based on, your career, ups and downs, adversity, resilience, if you were only allowed to spend 14 minutes a day doing something for your mental health, what would you spend it on and why?
14 minutes. All right, you don't have long, but I reckon for me, probably.
What's going on, you good humans? Welcome to guest episode 226 of Good Humans Podcast with a guy who I am so stoked I was lucky enough to catch up with. And his name's Dyson Heppell. Dyson was the captain of the Essendon AFL Football Club for many years, and he's just retired. And it was so cool to catch up with him in his family home and learn all about his journey. He had some ups and downs through his career. Essendon went through a scandal right when he was in the peak of his career in his early 20s, where they were given different supplements and injections to take through their staff, through their team, and it found out that they actually weren't illegal, but they got banned because of an illegal substance. It was really interesting hearing his story and how the AFL handled the ASADA, the International Doping Foundation or Federation, and what happened with Dyson. Dyson was just like fascinating. He had to take a year off playing his sport because he was banned and went through the mud with his reputation in the media, but the way that he handled himself and stayed true to his values and showed, the sort of person he is, to come back, to be the captain of the club, to stick by the club, and then, to have an incredible career that was respected and is continually respected by so many was, really amazing. Me and Dyson have you've become a little bit mates recently. We caught up at an event earlier in the year and have just connected on social media and have so many similarities in our values and the way we see the world, the way he's giving back to young H men with Haych the Label. You're going to hear all about it in this episode. If you do enjoy the episode, make sure you give us a 5-star rating, share it with a friend, tell somebody about this episode who you think might find it interesting. You can also give us a 5-star rating, leave us a review, subscribe on Spotify. All of those little things that you can do that don't cost you anything mean the world to me and really help this podcast get out to more people. Also, my brand new book, The 1% Good Club, is out now. You can use the code podcast over on thegoodhumanfactory.com and get it for 25% off, and it's a signed copy. So an absolute bargain, incredible read for anyone who is an athlete, for anyone who is a parent of an athlete. There is so many things that you might be able to add into your kid's life or into somebody in your life who you think really needs a little bit of help with their mental health, or yourself, if you just want to upskill and find those skills that are really easy for you to, manage your life better. You're going to find it in that book. That's enough for me. Let's jump into the episode with Dyson Heppell. Welcome to Good Humans Podcast, Dyson Heppell. How you going, mate?
Thanks, fella. Going well, thank you.
Mate, thank you for having me in your beautiful home here down in Melbourne. I've got a very erratic schedule at the moment, as I know you do as well. And we've been talking about doing this for a while. We connected, I guess, on socials probably a couple years, maybe a year ago. Connected a bit over socials, as you do. And then we actually got to catch up in person for the first time probably a couple months ago now with the Breath House, and Cloud did a little retreat, and I got to speak there, and you were there as well, and got to catch up for a few hours during the day and learn a bit more about you, learn a bit more about Haych the Label, what you're doing, meet your beautiful wife.
Wife.
Incredible woman. It was great to come down here to your house and see her and your dogs this morning, and we were like, let's do this podcast. I was in Melbourne. Well, I'm in Melbourne right now for a few days and didn't have much time in my schedule. And you're like, mate, come over to my place, 4 o'clock, let's do it. So here we are. So
perfect.
How you going today?
Good, brother. It's worked a treat, hasn't it? We are pretty erratic with the schedules, but managed to tee it up. And no doubt, great to catch up in Byron too. So and enjoyed your presentation, brother. Loved it.
Oh yeah, you got to see my little workshop. That was cool. And I know you've seen plenty of those. I was listening to your podcast on the Imperfects with Hugh and stuff recently, and they obviously did a workshop for you. So it's nice to see my spin on sort of gratitude, empathy, mindfulness, and these different things. And it's so important to get the reminder sometimes.
No doubt, brother. No, I actually really enjoyed it. And it's sort of like a big sphere in terms of, things that I've worked on and navigated throughout my career and personal journey as well. So, took a lot home from it, man.
Oh, cool. I'm glad you got to see that. And now, get to go through your story. And as I told you quickly off air, like, I'm not a big AFL nut. I've had a few AFL players on the podcast. But because I don't know heaps of it and the ins and outs, I feel like I can have a few curious questions that maybe aren't as informed as a lot of the podcasts I'm sure you go on when it comes to understanding the football world a lot. But man, before we kick off about your journey, I want to start with, what are you grateful for right now, today in life?
What am I grateful for? Very grateful for my wife, Kate, my family, and amazing friends. Got a great network of people around me, and can't miss the dogs and our cat. We've got half a zoo at our joint, so good fun, mate. Just some beautiful people in my life.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. What I also am going to ask before we kick off the episode and go through your story is a new question that I've been asking everyone. I've obviously just written a book, The 1% Good Club, which is all about dedicating at least 14 minutes of your day to your mental health. So I want to ask you, based on, the wealth of knowledge you have from wellness, your career, ups and downs, adversity, resilience, if you were only allowed to spend 14 minutes a day doing something for your mental health, what would you spend it on and why?
Love it. 14 minutes. All right, you don't have long, but I reckon, for me, probably breath work. Okay. Something that I've really dived into over the last, probably 3 to 4 years, and in particular when the Breath House kicked off, I got right into it, and now more so incorporating my own practice at home. I love it. Love it. Just in terms of, and probably the main thing, just more so for, you get the physical responses from a deeper breathwork session, but I think the mental clarity that I get on the other side of it has been a bit of a game changer for my life and the way I operate. So, I would have said an ice bath, but 14 in the ice is probably a bit much. So we'll run with
breath. 4 in the ice and 10 breath.
4 and 10.
10 breath work and then 4 in the ice. And then as well, I know you're big on gratitude. I heard you talking to Hugh and that you're like over 2,000 days streak in a row practicing gratitude. I think my streak's at like 1,600 right now, so you're ahead of me. What's gratitude done for you in life?
Yeah, great call. And that did, as you say, come off the back of Hugh and his resilience project work that he came out and presented at the club at a really pivotal time in my life and career. Just something really important, that just to take those minutes daily to just note what you're grateful for. And it just helps in terms of that reflection piece. And I really find when it does come to when I am grateful for either friends or people in my life, even just sending them a little note or reaching out to them, the feeling they get from those little moments and the kickback off the back of that just helps, strengthen relationships, build connection. And it's been a really important aspect of my life. Yeah.
No, I love that. Thanks for sharing. Let's get to know your life now. So, as I said, I don't know too much about your background. I know you played for Essendon. I know you were the captain after the sort of scandal and saga that went on throughout there, which I'm excited to dive into a little bit because it really fascinates me what happened there.
Yeah.
From an athlete point of view myself, when you trust the people in your realm to be giving you the best advice, the best chance of success, but then to be, sidelined for a year because of something that happened within the club that you had no idea about, really, is really interesting to me from an athlete lens. But I want to go back to the start. Let's talk about your childhood. What was life like as a kid?
Let's
Siblings,
do it.
How was life as a kid? And then, catch me up to high school. What I need to know about your sort of upbringing.
Happy days. I grew up in a country town called Leongatha, back in South Gippsland, 2 hours south of Melbourne. Had a ball, man. Awesome childhood. Beautiful parents, Anne-Marie and Paul. Younger brother, Azza. Older brother, Jamin. Really tight-knit family. And growing up back in Leongatha, had a great crew of mates that I guess all of us were just, very involved in sport, outdoors, camping, surfing, having a crack at whatever. I'm a hopeless surfer, so anyway, you can be the kook, but I did love it.
Come on, mate, you still surf?
Yeah, try to, man. Yeah,
we'll have to get up and off track just real quickly. Is on H's bucket list surfing?
Yeah, we got a bit of something coming on. So something coming up with a bit of a collaboration with a surfboard company, the Bark and Boards boys. So we'll see what we can piece together.
Okay, yeah, well, let me know.
I
was going to say that
help
too.
on this, bro.
I'm sure if you need any help when it comes to surfing stuff, I'm retired now too. But yeah, if you do, and I'm sure you probably already got contacts at Urban Surf and stuff, but I'd love to be involved if you do.
Love it, brother. We'll take that offline.
We'll catch up to that once we get up to talking about H.
No, it's so good, man. And look, my main childhood memories, camping, water skiing holidays, spending a lot of time outdoors, and just running amok at home with my brothers, competitive buggers, but we were best mates at the same time, and got in strife at home, but as soon as mum and dad would find out if we'd broken something or whatever, we'd quickly team up and make sure we try and cover our tracks as a team. But just really enjoyable memories as a kid, and footy was a massive part of that growing up in Leongatha, and had a really successful start to my footy career. My old man was the coach down at Leongatha, the mighty Parrots, vicious mascot, the Leongatha Parrots. And I didn't lose a game in my first 3 years. So first 3 years, 3 flags.
What age is that?
That's 6, like 7, 11. Oh, 11. Yeah, so Auskick up until like 11, 12, 13. Yeah. And steaming around Auskick with an Essendon Guernsey on, long sleeve, James Hurd's number on my back, who was my idol as a kid, and just had really fond memories of my early days of footy. And also basketball was a major part of my childhood as well. I actually came down to play for the Melbourne Tigers, so driving a couple of times a week down to the city to MSAC across the road here, and all over Melbourne playing in against various teams, and we had a really successful basketball team with the Tigers as well, and flowing into representative stuff with Vic Country and things like that too. So basketball was probably my main sport up until sort of 15, I reckon. Okay,
even with Dad, the coach of the AFL and the flags in the AFL. Yeah. Was there much basketball in your family at all? Or?
No, not really. Had an uncle that was 6'10" and could be a bit athletic when he was younger. Big tones, big boy now. But yeah, no, basketball, not really. I think Dad scored 100 points in a domestic game when he was young with a big red mullet. Okay. But yeah, that's a bit of a piss take. But
so it sounds like a family folklore
story.
One of them
was. He reckons he dropped the hundy. Dear. But yeah, man, and that's it. Sport, an enormous part of my life. I really enjoyed school, just mucking around with my mates. And
did you do high school down in country?
Yeah, just at Leongatha Secondary. Lived across the road, and away we went. And then, I guess a journey from sort of that young age into the Gippsland Power program, which is the regional representative footy team, and that was sort of my real taste for competitive sport, more Australia-wide. So we played against a lot of the other regions within Victoria. Managed to go all right. This is about the age of 15. Got an opportunity to try out for Vic Country. At 15, didn't actually make the side. Was more so basketball, playing state representative stuff there. But I remember at the age of 16, I ended up making the state team with Vic Country and played in the National Carnival, and I loved the experience. I absolutely loved it, but I realised how much work I had to do to match it with the best players in the country. And there was something, and I don't know what it was. I think, obviously you inherit a lot of traits and things like that, and there was something in me that just had a real desire to get the absolute most out of myself with my footy. And I remember coming back from that carnival going, I'm just going to give this absolutely everything to try and make it to the highest level I possibly could, and the dream obviously being to play AFL. And over that period of just diving into getting as fit as I possibly can, trying to put on some strength and size. And I remember going into that bottom age year at 17 years old with Gippsland Power. Ended up having a pretty good year, and sort of my final series when I was the year before my draft year was really strong. So sort of put me on the map a bit at that age. And then sort of leading into 18, year 12 at the secondary school. So you're doing VCE in the works, and that was a great distraction sort of throughout that year with footy, and gave school a good crack. I wasn't a genius, but had a good nudge. And then sort of really enjoyed my footy throughout that year with Gippsland Power. Ended up being the captain of that side, co-captain of Vic Country at the time as well. Yeah, wow. Ended up being All-Australian from that carnival. And
so what's All-Australian at that age? Like, you're the best. Yeah, if Australia had to put in an under-18 team, you're in that team.
Yeah, an Australian under-18 team, and I think I was the MVP for Vic Country, so got a really good nod there, and your stock sort of kept bolstering throughout that year. And by the end of that season, I actually won the league best and fairest in the TAC Cup competition, which was the statewide comp. Made the grand final, got smashed by Calder, but bugger those blokes. But yeah, man, had a really nice trajectory from sort of 14, 15, and then just kept improving until it came to my draft year, and that's where it started.
Yeah, tell me about the draft year. I want to just touch on this as well, because I feel like a lot of similarities to, obviously not an AFL player, but with sort of my surfing, I had a pretty good, that 14, 15, 16, was representing the country, was on a really nice trajectory. Did you have any ego at that age? Older brother, younger brother kept you in line a little bit? I just know back then I'm such a different person than I was when I was that age, and I look back and I'm like, fuck, I wish I had the values I have now when I was that age.
Yeah.
What how different of a person would you look at yourself at 17 than you are now?
Oh, it's a pisser, isn't it? Like, reflection's classic. Like, everything I've learned across the journey has been incredible. But, I look back now and I go, I was a confident kid.
Yeah.
I grew up a shitload from sort of 13 to 15 in terms of I used to spit the dummy thing if a ref, I was balling. If I missed a layup, I was throwing chairs. I was an absolute spastic, and I really did. Yeah, I grew up a lot through more older mentors in my life at that time with coaches and things like that. But I had a healthy confidence, but I also had mates that would quickly pull you in checks and brothers exactly. So. Really good crew and network around me to keep you pretty grounded and
I love that.
Yeah.
Talk me through getting drafted. What that's like. Finishing school, like you kind of knew you were going to be in the AFL pretty much, right? It sounds like from how you were playing. Talk me through finishing school. How long until draft after finishing school?
Nice, true. Well, yeah, classic year. Just a real whirlwind year at that 17 to 18, year 12 year. And I remember, at the time you start meeting AFL clubs, you're dealing with managers and things like that, and it was really exciting. You've got player managers coming to your house that might bring an AFL player with them, and to try and get them, a bit of points over the line, and going to the draft camp and meeting all the clubs, and even just experiences like that as a young kid and sitting in front of AFL coaches and recruiters and things like that, trying to impress or trying to be yourself, but you don't want to holding those nerves and things. Just really cool experiences. And there's a pisser, mate, leading into the draft. So I was a mad Essendon fan. Yeah. The only club I didn't sit down with and have an interview with was Essendon. No, and I thought, you got to be joking, you lot. Like, I just want to chat.
Is Essendon like the family team that you guys grew up supporting and stuff?
So my broader family are all Geelong as well and whatever. And I actually was a Cats fan until I was 5, and they were going shit out. So I said to my mate, let's go for the Bombers. And we jumped ship, and I came home one day, made mum buy me a Bombers kit.
And then they won in like 2000.
Yeah, 2000. Right? So we had a nice successful reign.
So how old are you? What year are you?
I was 92.
92.
Yeah.
So you're 2 years older than me. So yeah, you had like a good ride in that prime age. I went for I'm more of an NRL person. I go for the Bunnies, and they had like, I guess kind of like Essendon. They had like a year out of the years out of the league, not because of what happened with you guys, but like same thing, hard club to stick around supporting through that early, late 2010, 2000s.
No, classic, man. And so even having, so Hurdy was the captain, superstar, but one of the greatest to ever play the game. And he was coach of the Bombers as well. Right? So I said, mate, surely just come and have a chat to me.
Yeah.
And anyway, the night before the draft, I was invited to the draft. So mum and dad and family, we said, well, let's go camp. It was held in the Goldie. So mum and dad said, let's go camp at the Burleigh Heads Caravan for a week leading in and just chill before the draft. And so popped up there, and the night before the draft, I get a call from Hurdy saying, mate, James Hurd here, we're keen to come and interview you. We hear you might be a chance of slipping through to our pick. So anyway, I was like, fuck, it's actually Hurdy. So mate, if it's actually you, I'm at the Burleigh Heads Caravan Park. I'll meet you at the front at 6 o'clock if you want to come for a chat. Yeah. And no, Joe waiting out there, singlet boardies, bare feet, standing at the boom gate, and round the corner rolls Hurdy and the recruiters, and walks up to the gate. I just punch in the code of the boom gate, let him in, and then he came and sat around our camp chairs around the tent for my pre-draft interview. First time I'd met him. He had a couple of stubbies with dad around the tent, met the brothers. Classic, man. It was unbelievable. Just like real funny draft story. And at the end of the night, he said, mate, if you're available there at pick 8 tomorrow night, we're going to take you. And that was the first sort of realization of going, shit, I'm actually going to get drafted. Yeah, crazy, man. And then then all flowed from there. And got the nod pick 8 in the national draft, and all of a sudden had a night on the piss there with most of the Dons recruiters and coaches and whatever. It was good fun.
So you went to the actual draft night thing, and then first round.
Yeah, and that's it.
Got picked by your team that you barracked. That's so cool, full dream story.
Crazy, man. It's like, and you get called up top 10 up on stage and whatever, and you put on the Dons polo, and they were these putrid things and looked like a little stinker. But anyway, and then you go into interviews with media and things. So whirlwind experience, that first little phase, mate, and that was sort of within a month of finishing school. So I was straight home to my year 12 formal, and I was rolling in like, this is mad, So I had a great night, and just the support from all my mates, the local community, the local school. It was incredible, man. It was just like so much support and love. It's funny, like you look at times and people want to pull you down and people get jealous of what you're doing.
Jealousy.
Mate, it's just unbelievable. My whole community back home was like, fuck yeah, get after it.
Sick.
And have just been unbelievable in following my journey ever since.
That's so cool.
That was the beginning of it all, bro.
Wow. So talk me through that next year then, coming to the facilities. Had you gone to the Essendon facility if you're a fan of the club?
Yeah.
How was walking through the club for the first time knowing I'm going to get to represent and play for this club when the season starts?
Crazy, bro.
Did you play the first year when you're
rookie? So look, I had a really fortunate start to my career. So as you say, walking into the club at Windy Hill, at the time the joint was so outdated, but I'm going, this is unbelievable. Like, how good's this? And meeting some of my idols walking through, and just had a ball trying to get the most out of myself in that first year of pre-season. Had some really good young players around me that I tried to match up against, and pit myself against some of the better players to see if I stack up. And Hurdy was incredible in that first year of giving me a real license to go and get after it. He goes, if you're good enough, I'll give you a crack. And don't hold back on your leadership. You just be you. If you've got something to say it. Don't worry about this, earn your stripes before you speak up. He's like, change the mold in that regard and just go for it. And
that's really cool.
Really empowered me just to have a good dig, and ended up getting a nod for round 1. Played first game my first year, and had a 10-goal win against the Doggies. Got the Rising Star nod in my first game. And flowed on. I ended up playing every game in my first year.
Wow.
And ended up winning the Rising Star Award, which is the best young player in the country.
Wow, rookie award.
And that named after a beautiful family, the Evans family, the late Ron Evans, the Ron Evans Medal. I was the first player from Essendon to win it. So just an incredible sort of start to the career, and incredible memories from that first year, man.
Yeah, wow, that's so beautiful. So 2-3 years in, you've been there. When you get tapped on the shoulder, do you want to be part of the supplement program?
Yeah,
is my timeline somewhat right?
Yeah, you're pretty well.
So you have your first great year.
First year, go whack, and then the second year, sort of. I guess we had this supplement program that came into the club, and no one really questioned it. It was just
you're 20 years old.
20, just like happy days.
You guys made finals those first year
we did made finals at a shocker, but we got kicked out first round. But anyway, made finals. And then all of a sudden it's sort of. The club are obviously pushing to get the best out of the program and whatever any edge we can possibly get. And
sport team.
That's it. Yeah, undertook this supplements program. It was called, and which just consisted of daily vitamins, minerals, the works, whatever. You take your supplements and away you go. And it also encapsulated some injections of different amino acids and things like that. And in the end, man, like that program went on for a couple of years. All of a sudden, there were just these little, media spouts coming out here and there around, we may be doing something illegal within the four walls of the footy club, and we're sort of going, what the fuck's going on here? Like, there was, we were absolutely none the wiser with all of this, and
was it brought to you by like obviously the health and wellness people in the club? The coaches and the nutritionists. And
we had a full presentation around it all through
so
all the docs. Exactly. Our dietitians, the works. Everyone was fully across on what we're doing. There was no secrecy around it.
In hindsight, did they know that what they were doing was
no?
Absolutely. Even they didn't.
And this is the thing. And
did the FDA, or not the FDA, or did the ASADA probably changed a certain thing?
And this is the thing after it all, man. Like, we have not had one test that came out positive.
Really?
We passed every single test. We drug tested, we were blood tested, we were urine samples, everything under the sun. and not one of them came back positive, and we've still been dragged through the coals on all of this. So it's
keep talking me through it. So you just start getting whispers that
man, it was wild, bro. Like I was, I'm 19, 20, absolutely loving my footy. You go, had an amazing first year experience, second year sort of second in the best and fairest, and just on this rise of like just loving my footy, getting better and better, and away we go. And it sort of got to that period of 2013 through till our final sanction at 2016. So we had like 3 or 4 years of just like...
Did it slow? Did they start just going, just because of the whispers, we're going to pull back on the program? Or the program
that sort of... Yeah, once that got whispers, it blew up then. Like as in the media. It became a full circus, got out of the AFL's hand, went to the World Doping Agency. So it went big. And we'll never, I don't think, know the full scale and story behind how everything went down.
Was it like a whistleblower? Was it like... You don't know.
We don't know how it's all come out and what ended up happening. But there was a lot of things going on behind the scenes with certain guys that were involved in the club at the time. And that all got encapsulated, caught up within the club itself. And man, it was wild, man. We had like media...
so talk me through. So the whispers.
Yeah.
How far into the season? Because you guys like made finals and got kicked out of the
first year, and then 12. It's hard to really nail down the timings.
So this was in
20. By the time at the height of it, it was getting to 2015 was when I'm pretty sure 2015.
So it was kind of just like a cloud for years.
Yeah, man. It was like I think it was 2015, or even it might have been earlier. We actually were second on the ladder, round 17, and we beat Hawthorn, who were on top, and we were flying. And all of a sudden, I think that's when it really hit the fan. Might have been 2013, and the walls came crashing down a bit externally in the public, and we ended up getting kicked out of finals that year, and the wheels fell right off. And so for the next 2 years, we were going through an investigation of, just flat out getting drug tested all the time. We had, constant media scrutiny, getting door stopped in your car at the club, waiting out the front of your house, popping into cafes to try and get a grab or a photo or whatever. Names, slurred across the papers, partners, even family back home.
And without any evidence against it?
Absolutely zero. Yeah. And so, at a young age, all of a sudden we're sitting in front of the big wigs of ASADA and the World Doping Agency getting interviewed about everything that went on at the club, and you're sitting there being open and honest about everything, but, hoping you're not putting yourself in jeopardy of sanctions. And, all of a sudden, in the end, mate, it came out that we were found guilty, and we were to serve a 12 months sanction from playing AFL footy. Couldn't play any competitive sport whatsoever, not even local cricket or domestic basketball. Couldn't use any facilities associated with the AFL or the Essendon Footy Club. Had no contact with the club.
No contact with the club? You weren't allowed to talk bizarre, to your own club?
It was just a wild scenario. I mean, I think you could obviously have little bits with certain people, but you couldn't walk in the four walls and things like that. So it was...
Because that was going to be my... For one, I want to talk about like your mental health and how hard that is as a player. A few different things. First and foremost, like getting your name dragged through the mud must be so hard. But then getting told you can't play the sport you love for a year in your prime of your career. Did you guys not get paid for that year as well?
Yeah. So you're going a year without pay.
Tell me, how is it?
Yeah, bro, it was just insane, man. It was just like, as I was saying, the pure love of footy had a real dark cloud over it for a period.
So what was the first time? Yeah, what was the first time that the club sat you down and said, "Hey, something's
we're
about to blow up here"?
All I remember is constant, regular meetings with lawyers, and so all of a sudden you, instead of game reviews and working on your craft, you're sitting in the auditorium at the club for an hour with lawyers standing in front of you letting us know what's going on. It's like, fuck me dead, like I'm here just trying to play footy.
I'm a 20-year-old kid who's got the strength. The coach said, "Here, take this as keep you healthy."
It's just crazy, and part of me goes, I'm actually glad I was young and a bit naive at the time. It's just like I probably didn't know the full scale of what was going on behind closed doors, and just so lucky to have incredible leaders at the club at the time, and in particular Joe Watson, who was our skipper, doing everything he could, doing countless hours behind the scenes that we didn't know of at the time to try and get our names cleared, and being the man that fronted up, in and out, sacrificed, I reckon, his performance, won the Brownlow medal in 2012, And then from then on, it was like him just bunkering down to protect his teammates in the club. And just like, yeah, man, incredible man, and just learnt so much off him through that time. But yeah, like, and yeah, I'm still playing. I end up winning the best and fairest in 2014 All Australian.
While this is
like,
all going
still
on
trying
in the
to
background,
love and just go and have a good crack.
Let's just keep going.
Well,
and then they go, actually, you guys can't play next year.
And then it's like bang. So yeah, year out of footy, 2016. We went into when the final hearing was happening in January of 2016. I remember we all met together at the Pullman Hotel in Albert Park here, and we met in one of the big function rooms there, and they screened they had it live on the hearing. And I remember for some reason it sort of glitched out, and we were all sitting there, and we were told prior to going in, our lawyers were like, we'll be fine here. And I remember them walking back into the meeting room, and they had the blankest, darkest faces on, and we're just like, what has gone on in there? And then they let us know that it's gone completely south, and you're banned. You're banned blunt as that for 12 months. And we were just like, man, how do you respond to that? It was...
So what came back guilty though? If
yeah, man, like
tests
this
came
is
back
it.
with
It
no
was,
performance enhancing or anything in it.
Yeah.
It was like that they were trying to...
Yeah.
And
they based off all their evidence that they reckon they have deemed that there was something at least in the building of the Essendon Footy Club that may have been administered to our bodies to give us an advance that
but we couldn't pick it up. So you've obviously
that was on the banned list of substances, they reckon. So anyway, that's sort of how it all went down, bro.
That's great. See, I didn't, to be honest, until I listened to your podcast with Hugh Van Collenberg sitting in the car before I sat down to do this, I didn't know too much about it. And it's just like, it's so crazy. So what was that year off like for you?
That's it. I guess after navigating the emotions of it all in that initial phase, and everyone handled it really differently. For me... Because
it must be so hard for some guys, you know, I'm sure you're probably someone who's like got your first couple year big contract, bought a house, and then it's like you're not getting paid for a year.
It was all go, man. It was just crazy. And just like, I think that first week was wild, like of media and shit going on. And, you know,
thinking that everyone's probably hiding and covering stuff up.
It was just nuts. So in the end, Kate and I we booted up to the Barmer Forest, no phone reception, nothing.
Sick.
Camping for like 2 weeks, water skiing, get my head clear, just going for runs in the bush and whatever. And then came back to civilization with the phone just blowing up and going off tack. But I think it was really important to navigate the emotions of those first few weeks at least.
Yeah.
And then get back to, you know, okay, how am I... One, I'm like... really empathetic and feel for a lot of my teammates, which that year ended their careers. That was a finish.
There was a bunch of people that it was just done.
A bunch of them. That was it.
Oh, really?
And for me, I'm like, okay, I'm young, got a long career ahead of me. What can I do to try and get myself in the best space physically, mentally, to one, get back to footy in some realm of playing AFL as best I possibly can. And at the time, it was like, well, fuck, like I'm a loyal person, but I've had other clubs come to me going with big contracts, going, if you want to cut ties and with everything you've been through, start afresh. And, you know, no hard feelings towards anyone that went and did that. There was a number of boys that did. But, you know, for me, ended up getting myself in a space, and we put an elite training program as best we possibly could. You know, throughout that year to come back in a really healthy frame of mind to want to perform and make our fans and members proud again and just get back amongst it. But yeah, the rest of that year, bro, I was like, what else could we do?
Yeah, what did you do? What you said, no contact with the club, so you couldn't get like the coaches.
Man, we had some ex-coaches and Dave Butterfint, who was the head of sport, and
some ways to help out.
Yeah, the fitness coach at Collingwood for a number of years and done some big things, and he ran our fitness program. We had some incredible people help support around it. And put in the best program we possibly could. There were 34 guys at the time that were part of it all. Between it all, I think there was about 15 still playing. So pieced it all together, and mate, we had a crack. Tried as best we could to put in the best program we could.
Full year off season.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know. Literally, you try and train, and you know we had little breaks here and there, and part of that we thought, look, let's go and travel overseas. You know, went over to Europe and visited family in Holland, and Kate's family's Irish, so spent a week in Ireland with her family, and just like some incredible moments throughout that year that I look back and go, well, I did something that I wouldn't have been able to do mid-career. Got some great experiences while going through the hardest time of my life. And yeah, you know, I really felt I tried to make the most of the year in the end. And yeah, man, that's I look back and go, gave it a good crack and ended up getting myself more in a mental frame to come back to really want to perform at the best level I could.
Yeah, it's a great silver lining to be able to look back with that. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I make the most out of the year. One other thing I heard you say with Hugh and that was like the forgiveness towards the club and how important was that? And there's something that I love, this quote that my dad always says. He says, apologies clear the mind, but forgiveness cleanses the soul. How much does that relate to you? With being able to forgive the club, it's like someone can apologise to you, but unless you forgive, that's how you get the peace.
Bang. Yeah. Wise from the old boy.
He's got some good ones. Like, you read my book that I'll give you when we finish this. There's some really good little one-liners in there that he has.
Yeah, incredible, mate. And that's it. And it took a long time to navigate to get to that point. And you know, Kate is very emotionally intelligent. She was enormous for me in just growing up and maturing emotionally through that phase and having someone to lean on. And, you know, it got to that point where, you know, that was it. You know, there probably wasn't any direct apologies, but in the end, it's like, for me to free myself of all the feelings and, you know, I guess the heaviness of it all, I had to forgive everyone involved and, you know, an element of forgiving myself for going through it all and committing to it and whatever it may be. And, you know, it's just taking ownership, and you can put a full stop and stamp on that chapter, and all of a sudden you can reflect, take the learnings. I grew up a shitload as a person, as a leader, tried to get better as a player. And it's held me in good stead for life's challenges post that as well. And, an enormous amount of learnings, and, you know, obviously I never went through it, but it shaped a lot of who I am. For sure.
Let's talk about the next chapter now. Come back the next season, captain of the footy club. That's huge. What was that like? And if you don't mind me asking, we can cut this out potentially if we need to, but what happened with the captain, who was the captain at the time, who you said was amazing, got Brownlow, helped out so much with protecting the players and trying to clear your names. Was he like at retirement? Say, this shows my AFL.
No, love it. Star. But so Joe played on that one extra year, 2017.
But you took over as captain.
So he ended over the captaincy. Nice. A little transition. I was so grateful that he was still there in that last year, and it was more for him, I think. You know, he actually ducked off to New York. We didn't see him for 12 months. He went and worked in a cafe. Learned how to make coffees, opened a restaurant with a mate. Like, he went and just said, I'm going to do my thing. So, you know, for a long period, we didn't really see Joe, or Wispy, or Wizard, whatever you want to call him. You know, then coming back, he dug into the pre-season, and it was more for him just about getting some joy and finality and closure on footy itself. And
not finishing his career with this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That was more it. And for me, very grateful that he decided to come back, to have him there to lean on, as guidance and support in terms of that first year as a skipper. I was 24, 4-year-old captain, young skipper, and, you know, thought I knew a lot about leadership, and I knew bugger all looking back, but and learned a lot through that first phase, I think, as a skipper, and a tremendous honour. You know, some of the guys that have captained the club before is just enormous, man, full greats of the game, and to get the nod was incredible. And man, I think I just try. I think I had a good relationship and healthy respect from the playing group, and always tried to bring good energy and optimism to the group. I wasn't everyone's cup of tea, but made sure, you know, I soon learnt to, you know, form a really good team of guys around me to help delegate and, have different values and experiences that you form a nice little tight leadership group.
No, I love that. Talk me through coming back after, obviously, a scandal like that is so tough. You come in as the captain of the team. What was the feel around sort of your fans, and was there, you know, quite a bit of backlash from the fans, people jumping ship, or was it pretty good Essendon? I mean, it's a very old club, right?
No idea.
From what I know, which is limited, but how was it to, like, sort of win the fans back over and win the AFL back over and be like, because, you know, people read the headline and go, oh, drug cheats, and it's fuck, you listen to this podcast and realise these guys had no idea, and even there wasn't even anything found positive that had any performance.
Mate, it's a pisser, like. At the time when we did come back, I think there was 12 of us still remaining.
Oh, the crowds when you guys were running around the boundaries.
I remember though that even that pre-season, one of the front page of the Herald Sun was the Dirty Dozen. That was the tagline, front page with our faces spread across, and you're like, fuck, here we go. So we're the Dirty Dozen.
Isn't it crazy the way they do that stuff?
Anyway, but coming back, man, I had so much fun in that preseason just getting back around the environment. And our fans are unbelievable. 150-year-old club, most successful in the league in terms of premierships. And they stuck fat. Majority were unbelievable. Obviously, challenging times with little kids at Auskick clinics that have jumped ship because of what happened. All of that, which you go, fuck, like that hits home a bit as a kid. You put yourself in those shoes and whatever. And
your team's not playing for a year when you're a kid. It's
like,
a big thing. You can't really find a new team now. Yeah,
and all of a sudden it's I came back in that year, 2017, first year as skipper. I remember that first game we came out and played Hawthorn on Friday night at the MCG in front of 95,000.
It would have been some serious
bro, it was insane though. Like just the joy and the emotion of running out in front of the fans again was incredible.
I bet.
Meeting Jared Ruffhead, who plays for Hawthorn, grew up close family friends with. It was his first game as captain of Hawthorn.
Oh, no way.
So meeting him in the middle for the toss
together,
and just
sick.
like, fuck, how good's this?
You guys see each other as kids kind of thing?
Yeah. So he's sort of 5-6 years older, but like close with his brother and, always looked up to him. So it was an incredible moment.
That's so cool.
And we I probably had the best game of my career, man. Like,
no way.
Yeah, I was just had a ball. So much fun. Ended up winning it. And just celebrating that moment with those boys in particular that we went through it all with, but with the rest of the playing group, because they actually still played in 2016, the guys that weren't involved, with top-up players from other clubs and pulling blokes in from the VFL and country footy.
Wait, so Essendon still played
formed
for the
a team. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the club still got to come back and support. Did they bottom of the ladder?
Yeah, they
do all right?
They won a couple of games,
they did?
which is crazy. I think they might have won 3, which is like wild with the team that they pieced together.
Yeah, wow. Okay, so the fans still got to go watch
the footy,
but they had to watch like their sort of pulled together team.
And this is it.
And you guys weren't allowed to go and watch it or anything?
Yeah, so sort of 10 or 12 of your best players.
No, so when they say you couldn't be around the club, you guys couldn't even go to the training sessions?
No. Couldn't be. You like literally just buy a text to the boys there and just getting a vibe on the club and like it was bizarre.
Okay, so that's cool. So then their full team comes back.
Yeah, everyone's back.
They win. You have your best game ever.
Yeah.
Talk me through, what does it feel like running out onto the MCG? I've got to go to a few games. I got to go and watch Collingwood beat Geelong a couple of years ago and got to go in the locker room with Crispy and then a few friends of mine who's friends with Crispy got to go and watch them sing a song after winning. And then I went to watch the grand final when the Swans got smoked last year.
Yep.
So the only times I've been, but like the atmosphere of the MCG is just like the craziest thing ever. I can't imagine talk me through the feeling if you can.
Yeah.
Of running out to the middle of the MCG. I want to give 2 questions to this. Talk me through the feeling of that. But also the feeling of knowing you'll never get to do it again.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it's sort of like...
That's like a scare.
Literally, no, this is it. It is like a fucking incredible feeling, bro. It's just like, we are so fortunate. Essendon, we play in big games. We've got Anzac Day, Dream Time of the G, Country Round, playing against big clubs. You get 100,000 there, quite often throughout the season. And the roar and the eruption and just like the energy that runs through your body is insane, man. It's just like... something you can never, even just put into words hardly. It's like, and I, particularly towards the back end of the career, I really took every time I got to run out, just like absorbed and really felt into it as much as I possibly could. Just looking around at the crowd, getting around my teammates.
Yeah.
As a captain, you run out first and then you look back at everyone else steaming up the race with like, bang, like 20, 50,000 of that stand just looking at you like, fuck, how good's this, man? And then, it's just wild, bro. Just some of the funnest moments and experiences there. And you go, yeah, well, I'll never get to do it again. But I'm so glad I had the experience and got to do it and had the foresight to go soak this shit in because it's, doesn't come around very often.
I love that you say that. That was something that I was quite conscious of towards the end of my career as well. Like my last international trip in 2021, going to, Portugal, Hawaii, America, obviously Hawaii's in America, but like US Open, Huntington, Hawaii for events, France. I kind of knew it was going to be my last dance traveling internationally. So I really, like you kind of just alluded to, sort of soaked it up and took it in.
Yes.
Hopefully there's a young AFL player who listens to that might get an extra, or any young athlete who's, traveling and competing at the highest level to really be grateful while you're doing it. Because so many of us finish and then look back and go, fuck, it was so good. And I wasn't even enjoying it that much because I was so in my head and so hyper competitive and so externally validated, driven that I didn't actually enjoy, like, that I'm living fucking my absolute dream.
No doubt. And it's so hard when you're young in particular to not get caught up in all of that. So
it's a weird balance, because if you become like too grateful, then maybe you lose the competitiveness, and that's where I felt at the end. I lost the competitiveness. It's a bit of a balance.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And you know, I think it's funny looking back on the last couple of years. Like, there were periods where I was really like, fuck, like, you know, wasn't playing my best footy, but I found the moments when I was when I had that real freedom of like, let's just, you know, be so grateful for everything, get around my fans, get around my teammates, celebrate the shit out of them, clear my mind of everything that's going on, and just like, you know, just like put your energy into others. And I found it played really well, and there you go.
I love that you say that, and I think it's a great one, because I'm sure there's probably moments that you might be able to relate to this earlier in your career, that if you had a shit game, even if you won, you were still like kind of pissed off. But then you like learn, even if you have a shit game, but you see your mates have a really good game, you like celebrate them, and it's like, oh, you got chances to be stoked every game if you're looking for the right positives rather than just looking for the negatives.
Yeah, no doubt.
Another thing that obviously is very important in your career is your relationship with H-Man. Can you explain to me how your relationship with Harrison, explain maybe a bit about who he is? Because I think this kind of crosses over and has quite a very similar, in a weird way, path to my career, where I'd built what I built like 3 to 4 years before I retired. So I got sort of the feeling of service to others and giving back throughout my career. And it kind of made me realize, as much as it's great winning a surf comp or winning an AFL game, fuck, this kind of feels as good, if not better.
Yeah.
Giving back to others, service to others. So, yeah, can you explain to me a bit about what happened with your grandma, into your relationship with H-Man, and then, what you've been, how important that relationship's been to you with sort of your, I guess, value of life.
Nice, yeah. So I guess originally when I was younger, my grandmother, my old ma, she passed away from a condition called scleroderma, which is an autoimmune disease. And when I got drafted, I became an ambassador for the Scleroderma Foundation, and through that foundation, they introduced me to young Harrison Pennicott, little H-Man he's known as. He was a mad little Bombers fan, youngest in the world to be diagnosed with scleroderma. And, you know, just an absolute little trooper. Came out to the club. First time I actually met him, he hardly said a word. And then he softened up by the end when he was out at the club. And I just saw this, like, charismatic, bubbly, like, just full of energy little kid that had been through so much shit at a young age, you know.
And what year was this? And how
this
old
was 2017. Okay, so coming off the back end of 2017, off the first year back into the
first year back. Okay, wow. So you had your first year as captain.
Yep. Yeah, this is it. And just like came into my life at a pivotal time, you know. It was just like, he just gave me so much, I think, you know, just joy and perspective throughout that period. And I was like, I want to get to know this kid more, and ended up forming this awesome little relationship with him. And, you know, he'd spend countless hours and multiple times at Royal Children's Hospital. So on the way home from training, I'd always pop in and see him. And, we just got to know each other really well, along with Kate and, you know, H-Man's brother Miller, you know, his folks, Lisa and Jamie, they're absolute champs. So had this cool relationship. And then, you know, over the years, We'd hang out, go and do different things. He'd come to plenty of games, in the rooms, in meetings, the works, come out to training, just loved it, getting around the club. All the boys treated him unbelievably well, just as a little mate.
Yeah.
So he became our semi-mascot over the next sort of 5-6 years. And, you know, over that time too, he loved his drawings and artworks. He'd send me little drawings. And if I had a number of operations, I'd be in hospital, he'd send me like little cards with little drawings of us and whatever things he'd been doing. And that was sick. And I actually was coming out of an operation at one point, and I rang Kate and said, I've got an idea. I reckon we should do something for H. So Kate was like, I think we should try and piece something together to impact his life as much as we could. So
because with his condition, he's kind of got a shortened lifespan. He's got this,
right? And this is the thing. 5 years old, they gave him 2 years to live. So we're like, fuck me, this is insane. So I wanted to get, you know, do as much as I could with him.
As much as you can.
Kid's 13 now, punch through every fucking barrier that's put in his way. So anyway, got to that point.
Hang out with you and do more cool shit.
It was sick.
So good.
Yeah, it was cool. And you know, doing cool shit together, it spurred this idea of like, let's come up with something that we can do more cool stuff together. And that was where the concept of the label came about. Kate and I were always interested in wore the same type of kit.
Yeah.
Wanted at some point to do our own thing, and we're like, let's tie this in. So created the label, Haych the Label. The concept being all of his H-Man's little drawings, artworks, designs of the graphics on the kit. All these little slogans, his handwriting, everything. All these little touch points on the kit, and the proceeds of sale help go back towards ticking off his bucket list items, and away we go, man. So
talk me through a couple of things on his bucket list that have been ticked off and a couple that haven't.
Oh no, what have we done? We had driving a Lamborghini was his first one. Boring around here in a Lambo. We had, he loves his soccer, had an experience with Melbourne Victory. We had Melbourne Storm Inner Sanctum experience, which was incredible. We took him to the Oz Open, Formula One, meeting Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri. Everyone got around him. It was unbelievable in the pits.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, it was so sick, man. And everyone was just incredible towards H. And big one got him on Adrian Portelli's private jet. Flew to Sydney, spent a day with Nick Kyrgios, and Nick brought him round in his own Lambo. Gave him a couple of Pokemon cards and this kind of shit. So, mate, he's done some amazing stuff as a little tacker, and they're probably the big ones we've done. Also loves his music. He's met Ed Sheeran. We're actually randomly going to Teddy Swims tonight, little backstage.
Oh, tonight? No way. Sick.
We just found out that literally as you rocked up. So that'd be elite. And then, bigger ones with, depending on his health and timing, trying to get into Europe to watch some, APL soccer and, meet some players. So, man, having a
Fisher
crack.
fan, right? I think you were telling me that.
This is it, and this is great timing, brother. So, big Fisher fan, loves his tunes and whatnot. So, we can tee it up. Just get
maybe to live golf. Are you a golfer?
I'm hopeless, but I'm keen to go to live golf. Yeah.
That's probably a close enough one that he could probably... Can you get on a flight? Like a domestic one?
Fuck yeah.
Let me speak about that. I've been trying to get to live for the last 4 years, and I'm always busy for it, but my dad's got the private jet down with fishing that the last few times, and I've missed out, but I'm putting it in my calendar definitely for next year. But
if we can line it up, bro.
Worst case... Yep. I'll be able to get, I reckon, a good video message for him. I reckon he'd probably froth that more. But I was just thinking, what's Fisher's shows in Oz? I don't know his schedule for this year, but I know he's definitely doing live next year, so maybe we can make a little golf.
See what we can do, bro. Yeah, love it.
I'll try and tee it up.
Oh, very good.
But that'd be sick. So tell me a bit more about the brand. How can people support?
Nice,
I want to get some of your stuff.
Good on you, bro. It's sick. Look, had incredible support from the start. Couldn't be more grateful. Learning a lot about business in general. Kate and I are spinning this full time, so having a good crack. Look, for support, we're just on an e-commerce, so we're haychthelabel.com or through social links at just Haych the Label on Insta.
Haych.
Haych.
Nice.
Yep. Away you go. Go and have a look. Got plenty of vids up there. Good support. We're loving it, man. Enjoying the journey. A lot of challenges, but having fun.
Yeah, I love it, man. I'm excited to grab some stuff, but also hopefully meet little man one day. And if we can do something towards surfing and I can help out in any way, please don't be a stranger, because it's so cool to see what you're doing. But what I love about it is you must have inspired so many other AFL players to give back to their community. I mean, you're the captain of your club. You could very easily, be just focusing on your partner, the footy, doing what the club needs you to, but you're focusing on something that, is so important to you and obviously warms your heart so much, and now has helped you, with this transition and giving you this purpose post-career.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about that real quickly, because that's something so many athletes really struggle with.
Yeah.
How conscious of you coming towards the end of your career were you about the struggle of transition? And how big a decision was it to make? Could have, I don't know, I don't follow AFL that much. Could have you played more years? Were you ready to finish? How did the end of your career come up? It was last year, right? Was your last season?
Yep, last year.
First year
finished up last year. Yep, correct. So, looked, by the end, man, the team was sort of struggling. My form was up and down, but there was a year there on the table to go again. Yep. But, part of what I'd experienced and witnessed over my career was so many guys tried to cling on for too long. Yeah. They ended up with a sour taste on footy in general in the club with how it all finished. And I thought, I was always look, if I'm in a good spot, playing well enough, body's feeling pretty good, but there's someone else under me, and depending on where the club's at, if we were pushing for a flag, I would have gone again, no doubt.
Yeah.
But in terms of where we're at, we had young guys that I'd helped develop, under me. I had a young fella, Archie Roberts, that's now wearing the 21 that, I handed the number to. He was one that's like, he could come and take my spot, and felt, really fitting, comfortable time to go. I'm so grateful for everything and time to hang him up. But man, post that, having said that, felt like I'd done a lot of work in not wrapping my identity in footy, but it's a tough transition. It can be hard to explain, and some people may not get it, but being so driven and committed to a cause and so routine based throughout your career, where you just wake up, know where you need to be, know what you're doing, you rock up, you do your thing, you go home, you recover, whatever, rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Everything's dialed into that, and all of a sudden you're left to your own devices with your own time. And Kate and I committing to Haych to build that out. It's like you're all of a sudden on your own schedule, doing your own thing without the camaraderie and the group around you every day. It was a tough one to navigate. And look, talking to a lot of ex-players, it can take up to 3-4 years to feel comfortable again. So man, it's been a really up and down a year of emotions, but in a really good space now. And as you mentioned, the importance of having that purpose and mission with Haych has been really, I'm so grateful for it. So grateful for him to come across him in my life. And it's been nice to have something to focus on outside of it. Yeah.
No, thanks for sharing. It's such a interesting thing when you're an athlete, and this is and especially in a team sport, everybody around you is working for you guys to win games, or for me to win a surfing contest. And then you retire from the competitive sport realm, and then it's like, wait, there's nobody telling me what to do at the gym. There's nobody telling me we're going to be here at this time. There's no one you kind of get told what to do. And that's what so many people see athletes as so fit and healthy. And it's as soon as you don't have people kind of steering the direction, it changes very quickly.
It does, man. And look, I think important for me too, I had a steady phase out and played in the VFL here with Port Melbourne. So actually, speaking of James Hurd, he was a coach down there along with Brendan McCartney, who coached me early in my career as well.
Wow.
Two of the best blokes I've met throughout the journey, and so I went and played under them down at Port
Melbourne. I
Melbourne.
You had first year out transitioning to VFL.
Which was,
how'd you go? Did you kick some goals?
Yeah, no, I hardly kicked the snag, but we all loved the year, mate. Had a lot of young guys down there, a really good bunch of boys, and hit and miss in terms of performance, but we, amongst that as well, we didn't make finals, but amongst that, on our bye weeks, you have to nominate a local club if you don't play VFL. So on our bye weeks, I'd go and play with Leongatha, back where I grew up with my brother, Azov, I never played with, a bunch of mates that I played in that under 13 flag with.
How fun was that?
And I managed to qualify for finals, and we ended up winning the flag, man. In the end, I had a 20-year hiatus from winning a premiership back in under 13s.
No way.
And then ended up doing it back with Leongatha in the seniors, with a number of those boys and my brother, and
just had the coach.
Bro, it was so good. Nah, Dad wasn't coaching. A fitting little first year out chapter to go. There's some success, even though it wasn't at the highest level. Got to experience a premiership, and had an absolute ball just for the pure fun and love of footy again. Without all the external stuff. So
without the pressure. Yeah. What about next year? You're going to give your body a rest?
Plan on a little crack in the granny I did in the second quarter, and mate Buck, who's the physio, just wrapped it up as tight as could be, bit of grit, and then 3 days on the piss, and my hands were like elephant fingers. Got it sorted. Next year, brother, I'll roll around again with Port. We're going to play the initial phase of the year. Kate and I got married early this year, didn't really get a proper honeymoon, so we're going to duck off for 6 or so weeks during the year, which, so footy will be on the back burner a bit, but I'll give it a good nudge.
Absolutely deserve it. Well, man, thank you so much for inviting me into your home first and foremost. I'm really looking forward to sort of growing our friendship over the coming years and seeing what you do with Haych the Label, seeing, what you and Kate do as a family. It's really cool to see the relationship you guys have from, getting to meet you before to seeing you guys in your house now, just the way you talk about each other and, how I've seen you speak about her in other interviews is really admirable for someone, who's a young man who's got a partner as well. It's, really special to see the way you guys have built your relationship. I finished Good Humans podcast with the same question. I'm very excited to hear how you're going to answer this. Captain of, one of the world's biggest footy team, very big in leadership. So what does being a good human mean to Dyson Heppell?
Man, nice. Okay, what's being a good human mean to Dice? I think just having a genuine curiosity, care, empathy, and a level of support towards others. And a real celebration for others' successes along the way as well. So I think that's it, brother.
Mate,
there you go.
So well put. Well, thank you so much for this chat. I'll leave in the show notes if anyone wants to grab some of the merch to support, or not merch, some of the clothing to support Haych the Label and your guys' next venture after, AFL, but also it's going towards a good cause, a bunch of the funds to tick off those bucket list items. We'll chat after. I'm going to see what I can do with trying to organise a fishy concert to get.
So good, bro.
Live might actually be the perfect one because you probably can go to that under 18, whereas a lot of shows probably not. So let's have some chats about that because we'll be able to work that out, I reckon, for sure.
Half of these are my bucket list too, bro. I said half of these are my bucket list.
Yeah, I know. It's perfect for you. You're like, F1.
Let's go.
F1's on my one, going to the pits. I'm like,
nice.
I'm friends with Jack Doohan, and now he got in and out. And I'm like, fuck, how am I going to get in there? But I'll get in there to one of the races one day. But man, it's been an absolute pleasure.
So good.
Thanks for jumping on Good Humans Podcast.
Thanks, brother. And mad respect for what you're doing too, mate. Following your journey and love it, mate. So happy days. Thanks for having me on.